Hello. In this brief video we will go over the quiz activity in eClass and how to create it in your eClass course. To begin, click the Edit Mode switch in the top right corner of your course. With editing turned on, scroll down to the bottom of the module and click Add Activity or Resource. From the activity picker that appears on your screen, scroll down and choose the quiz option. On the following page, you can start by giving your quiz a unique name and a description. The description can include pertinent details about the quiz, such as the type of questions that will be offered, the number of questions that will be on the quiz, and any additional information that you think might be important for students to know before they go in. Afterwards, you can scroll down a little further and open the timing settings for your quiz. In this section, you can set the date and time that the quiz will open and when the quiz will close. You can also set a time limit for all quiz attempts. Lastly, you can choose what will happen when the time expires in the quiz. We recommend leaving it that open attempts are submitted automatically, so there are no errors if there's a loss of internet connection or power, or if the student simply doesn't hit the submit button in time. After setting the timing settings, you can scroll down a little further and open the grade settings. Your options here include which grade category this will appear in when it goes to the eClass gradebook, what would be considered the passing grade in this quiz, and how many attempts you wish to allow on this quiz. Moving on to one of the more important settings, you can also choose your review options. In simplest terms, the review options control what quiz information your students will be able to see and when they will see it. The 4 columns in this section function like a timeline. First, you have during the attempt, when students are actively taking the quiz. Next, you have immediately after the attempt, which is a 2-minute window after the student has clicked Submit on the quiz. Then you have later while the quiz is still open, which is after that 2-minute window, but before the quiz close date is reached. And lastly, if you have a close date set for the quiz, after the quiz is closed accounts for any time after the close date is reached. For any of these sections, you have multiple options. You can choose whether students will see their quiz attempt, including the questions they were assigned and the answers they provided, whether they were correct on each question, the maximum amount of points that were available, and the points they earned on each question and in total in the gradebook, any feedback information, and what the right answer is on each question. After choosing review options, you can review other settings as needed, but these are the main areas that you will need to set the behavior for in your eClass quiz. Once you are done here, you can move on to design your quiz by clicking Save and Display. When the quiz loads, you will see that the details you have entered are now appearing on the screen, but no questions have been added yet, which means the quiz is not yet active. To add questions to your quiz, you can either click the Add Question button that appears, or click the Questions tab that appears at the top of the quiz. On the Questions page, you will be able to design the content of your quiz. To add questions, go to the Add button and choose the option that you think is appropriate. You can add a new question if a question hasn't been entered into eClass already. You can add a question from your pre-existing question bank, or you can add a random question from any given category in your question bank, which will be randomly drawn when the student takes the quiz. To learn more about adding new questions and populating your question bank, see our related video on this topic. After adding your question content, you have a few options for designing the layout of your quiz. Between each question, you have the ability to condense questions into a single page, or you can click the Repaginate button in order to put a set number of questions on each page. If you wish to break up your quiz into parts, you can also click the Add button to add new section headings between different pages in your quiz. For every section of your quiz, you will see a Shuffle checkbox, which will shuffle the order of questions in that quiz section. In terms of the grading of your online quiz, at the top of the screen you will see the Maximum Grade text box. This is where you will set the overall grade for your quiz, as it will appear in the eClass gradebook. You will also see a point value next to each question in your quiz. You can edit it in order to change the relative point value of each question, such as to make an essay question worth more than a multiple choice, or a multiple choice question worth more than a true-false. Once you are done adding and editing the question content of your quiz, then you can preview the quiz to see how it will appear for students on their end. For more information about how your students will be taking eClass quizzes, see our separate student resource video on taking online quizzes.